With many in the precious metals camp casting aspersions upon gold and silver ETFs, you might remember the rumors about tungsten-filled gold bars with GLD, and I remember all the stories coming out when it was around, I want to say $90 a share, subsequently ran to $120 when these articles were just popping up. The markets and the smart money, they didn't fall for this ploy here. I mean, once investors build that solid core of physical precious metals that you talked about, don't you think that ETFs represent a compelling way to direct funds into, investments with a shorter time frame?
Yeah, I've been neutral on the ETF to slightly favorable. I mean, I've written about it. I won't go into it on the show here, but basically it solves a lot of problems, especially for a big investor. I think that, it's primarily for the institutional types because the way it's taxed is taxed as a commodity, so you don't get the buy and hold rule that you get in the U.S. if you hold a stock for a year and a day. It's still taxed at a higher rate. But having said that, the main problem for a fund manager is how do I buy silver and store it? Well, that problem is taken care of for you. All you got to do, again, is click your mouse. So, plus it's brought a lot of attention to the silver market that wouldn't have been there otherwise. So, certainly it's put upward pressure on the price of silver. Of course, you can short the SLV or other silver ETFs. The SLV is the biggest one, but not the only one. So, again, neutral. I think overall it's more favorable than unfavorable. I do think, as I've said many times, that if you are going to use the SLV or any of the silver ETFs, don't think of it as your primary silver or gold investment. It is not. But as far as a way to hedge or a way to get in and out of the market or swing trade or whatever else you want to do, I don't really have a big problem with that.
The huge hedge fund manager John Paulson invested somewhere near 30% of his fund. That's unheard of, as I'm sure you know, in the hedge fund field to make such a wager. But he made that on GLD in that $900 area. So as you mentioned, the institutional folks are getting on board, and they're certainly looking to the ETFs as a way to participate in the opportunity. As we wrap up, do you attribute current deflationary concerns as a factor holding back silver relative to gold? And when do you think that we could see silver make another assault on that $21, $22 area?
Great question, if I only knew. First of all, deflation. Yes, there are deflationary pressures. The speech that I gave at the Silver Summit here at the end of September of last year, I spent at least half of my time on the inflation-deflation debate, and I made a strong case for the parallels between the U.S. economy and the Weimar Republic. And so if you watch that interview, which you actually get off the website if you want, in the membership area. Anyway, you can make a strong case. Look, it looks like we're going down that road, and it does. However, I am very strong about the last slide on that presentation, and I say, look, it's not going to happen until the velocity of money gets above this line. I show a chart and I explain it in great detail on why we're still in a deflationary mode right now. And I hate to be contradictory because obviously we've printed a lot of money, but really we haven't printed a lot of quote-unquote money. What we have done is we've electronically stimulated a great deal of credit, and credit or debt do not equal money. M1 and M3 are not the same thing. So there's a huge stimulus out there in the form of credit, but it hasn't been monetized yet. Now, of course, some of it is being monetized by the Federal Reserve. I mean, and this isn't really that complex, but the point I'm making is, yes, I see deflationary pressures ahead. Okay, when are we going to get past the 2021 level? I think that will happen this year, but when, I'm not sure. Will it happen in the first quarter of this year? The momentum that's going on in gold and silver right now and the new buying that's coming in doesn't look to me like we're going to see the $20, $21 level in silver in the first quarter, but anything can happen in these markets. I mean, they've humbled me many times, and I'm sure it'll happen again. The area I'm really looking for, though, is the $25 level. Once we breach that to the north, to the upside, that's where I think you're going to see huge moves in silver. Now, that probably won't happen in 2010, but it could. There's so many factors. You not only have to look at technical work, which is important, but certainly not as strong as the fundamental work. I am not a technical guy only. I think the fundamentals are far more important. You've got, the Middle East situation. You've got the Iran-Iraq situation. You've got geopolitical tensions worldwide. You've got Europe wondering what's going on. You've got currency wars. No one calls them that, but that's what's happening. You've got people talking about abandoning the U.S. dollar and trading commodities in another form. You got noises about let's abandon the dollar as a reserve currency and use SDRs. I mean, there's all kinds of fundamental reasons why the gold and silver markets could take off instantly tomorrow morning and never look back. So you have to keep that in mind, and that's why if you're new to this market, you should buy some kind of position. Even if you're buying at a quote-unquote temporary high, you should still be able to sleep at night as long as you're not margined, because you have, again, the best asset class you can have in a financial environment that we're currently living under.
Well, not to mention an insurance policy that just as safe as they come, doesn't require any type of, for the most part, premiums, right, on a regular basis. You can own it outright in your home at the bank. So it is the best insurance policy for your financial future, for your family. And I think you aptly point out that at a moment's notice, some rogue tidal wave in the financial community, as we saw 2008, caught so many people off guard. There's your safety net right there, gold and silver. All right, Dave, as we wrap up this discussion, for those who'd like more information on the services you provide, please tell them about your newsletter and silver-investor.com.
Okay, well, we redid the website for 2010, and we kind of simplified it, made it a little easier to navigate. The website is silver-investor.com, as you said. I call it home of the Morgan Report, and the basic services are outlined there on the right-hand side, our basic plus, and premium services. Also, I consult from time to time. And that is the main site. But the main part that is available for free and for fun and continue to give a lot of my head and heart for free is off the blog. So I've gone to a blog format, which is more Web 2.0. People don't know what that is. They can look it up on Google. It's more user-friendly, plus a lot of times I leave the comment section open, so people want to blast my writing or work of others or whatever, they can feel free to type in their little comments. That's fine. So that's it. It's a blog format for the free stuff, and everything else is for the paid membership. We have, try to accommodate everybody. Buy and hold investors would do well with the basic service. People that want to time the market want kind of a trading alert service, not necessarily our picks, but the general market, like silver's going up, silver's going down, silver's going sideways, that type of thing. That's the Silver Basic Plus service, which we have an alert system that's unique. It's one that my webmaster developed, and it bypasses the email system. We found that our alerts and updates weren't getting to a lot of our members because the email system's kind of breaking down. There's so many spam filters and everything else that a lot of people were saying, I love your work, but I'm not getting it. Well, we can't help that. I mean, the computer is as impartial as they come. It doesn't care who you are. It's going to mail it once I hit the button. The problem is that some spam filter, some do-gooder out there is trying to police your inbox. And anyway, we bypass that whole system. And then, of course, the premium is basically a consulting service. People high net worth, fund managers, people like that want a lot more access to me directly. And that's a teleconference call that's taped and transcribed once a month. That's all it is. But you have to pay a premium price to get that premium service.
All right, sir. As always, I want to thank you for joining us on the broadcast, and have yourself a profitable week.
Well, Chris, thank you very much.